Hello guys, we've got a 19 Honda Civic, just the rear window. This rear window broke out one way or another. The sides are already tinted and one of our local glass shops has brought it to me. So what we'll do first is just easy to clean, to clean this back window off to get started. It's a brand new window, so we shouldn't have any problems. I still see a little bit of markings where they were installing the glass, but not a big deal. So now the car's pretty clean. There's no edges in the way, or dirt along these edges. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use dryer sheets on this back window and little piece of something right there that I'll get off. So what I'm going to do is I wet the dryer sheets and I'm just rubbing it all over this back window. Get the other side because my arms aren't long enough. And so there we have the dryer sheet on the window. Now, something that we've got to always do is let this dry completely. We don't want to get it too thick. This looks just about right for what I like. So let's let this dry. And while it's drying, let's go in here and we're going to use a plotter to cut the film to fit. So let's go cut the film and then I'll heat shrink it, okay? All right, so I have the film that the customer requested loaded in the plotter. I have my cut program, computer cut, loaded up. And all I have to do here is pick the rear window and highlight it and bring it into this cut screen. And this window's 41 3/4 wide and about 26 tall. So what we'll do now is just hit cut one more time. And you see here the plotter is feeding out the film it's going to need for the length. The width here is just a standard 40-inch. So here we go. It'll just take a second to cut it. And so when I get this film cut, I'm going to lay it out on a work table and I'm going to trim everything but probably an inch around where this plotting machine has made the cut. So that way I can shrink it and I'll still have a little bit extra along the edges. And then we'll take that extra off and apply it. It's ready to go. Let me get it going. Okay, we have our film cut from the plotter. I've trimmed it to where it's a little bit bigger than where it was cut. I have the dryer sheet spread out on the window. And so then, now we are going to take and this is my top. And I'm going to set it on this window. And then the film needs to be anchored. So I've got a wet paper towel here. And I will go across half of it here. And then we will go over here and do the other half. And so this is going to keep get it kinda where I want it. You know, it doesn't have to be, your pattern doesn't have to be exactly even with the window, but this will work. What we're looking for is it being flat here. Some people will go ahead and make wet spots here and on the other side, and it's referred to as a H pattern. I'm going to use this extra film to shrink But remember, we can't shrink to the side of the film, only what we call factory edges, this top and bottom. So what I'll do is I'll get the heat gun warming up, and while I get the heat gun warming up, I'll get my glove on and we'll go from there. So what I am gonna do here is I'm gonna go kind of straight back and forth across like mowing a lawn or a typewriter, and I'll work to get the film on down. So here we go. Let me get it warmed up and then we'll go. Okay, I have my heat gun warmed up and I use a heat shrinking glove to do the work. And I've got that glove on. Now get this ready, wrap the cord around my neck so that we don't damage the car with that cord. Okay, let's go back and forth, right? And I want to keep all of the film going to the factory edges, top and bottom. You can see the film shrinking now. Okay, that quarter of the window is completely done. So now while I am standing on this side of the car, we'll go ahead and shrink this and back and forth, working towards that edge. Not a real hard window to shrink. A little bit of practice and you'll be able to do that. This is why right here, the edge, it flipped up on me, but you know what? It is not into the film. It's that extra film that I left on, and so I'll point that out and I'll show you what we do with it here in a minute. Okay, so now same thing as the other side. And so almost, almost done. It's just a little bit of practice with your heat gun and forming, and knowing how to practice is important. But what we're going to do is get this laid up here, get this very last piece, and we about have it. Now, something to notice is when I'm using this glove, I don't push down on the film any further than where I've heat formed it. And here, the heat forming is done, and so we can now go ahead and get it ready. 3. Okay, the film is all formed. It's very flat on the window of the car. I shrunk everything to the top and bottom, but you know, the film is cut just a little bit bigger so I can shrink it. And so here I'm taking that extra film off. Of course, most of you guys watching this know that the film has a liner, and that liner is on my top. And so remember over here where the edge of the film flipped up and burned, and I said, it's no problem. And it's not, because now all of that comes off and all of this will lay down. So this is my extra. I'm going to throw it away in a moment, and I'm going to take this film, pull it off of the car. The liner is facing me, so the adhesive is up. So we'll pull it off of the car and come over here. I've already cleaned this glass so we don't pick up any contaminants. And here we go. So now that'll hold that up there just fine. Now let's clean the outside of this window, and then I'll get inside and do a cleanup in there and we'll apply it. Okay, so I have the window hanging over here ready to go, already preformed. And I've got the seats down because this particular car, the headrests don't come off, and it makes life difficult even for a short guy like me. Okay, so I have some glass cleaner sprayed on it, and so I'm just cleaning this window now. You know, even though it's a brand new window, someone had been unlucky enough to have theirs broke out, I still want to clean it good. And different people use different things. This is a 3000 grit wet dry pad, and the little holder just makes it easy for me to get a nice and smooth when I'm scrubbing, but it won't work down here at the bottom. So here we go. There's really pretty clean. I've still got to get behind that third light, the brake light, and I have my toolbox here. I call it my back window tools, and I put that scrub pad on here, and so now I can get behind that light without having to worry about taking that whole deck out. So there we go. I have got a squeegee that I want to use, just a 6-inch long. It's an Unger squeegee. And so as I go across that window, the top's clean. I'm just going to wipe this blade. Now also here is the headliner on the car. I have a piece of tape, 2-inch, running across to keep any particles out. And then I've cleaned this rear deck. And I don't know if you can see, but you know, I'm cleaning this window, and I mentioned earlier that it is a brand new window, but you should be able to see where the dirt is running off of it. Here's just a different type of squeegee that I like. Always clean it. And here we go. So I've got this pretty clean. Let's go over here now and get the film prepared, and then I'm going to reverse roll it in. Okay, glad to be out of the car. Windows clean, film is shrunk. So now we're going to get ready to do what's called a reverse roll. And I just spray a little bit of my soap solution on the outside to cut down on static from sucking any dirt in. So that's nice and wet. So I'm going to put this back on and flatten it out, and now I'll pull from the bottom, and when I come up here I'm going to leave probably an inch, maybe a little bit less than an inch of dry so that this liner stays in place when I do my next job here. Now this is my top. We don't want to forget that. And we're going to roll it. We had the liner facing us. So this is the reverse roll method of applying, which everybody, there's so many ways. If you watch my other videos, there's so many ways to apply. This just happens to be what I'm going to do here, especially since those headrests don't come out and I'm having to crunch up. Thank God I'm not 6 foot tall, right? So here, looks really good. All rolled up. And when I get ready to unroll it in the car, the liner here, I want it to stick to my roll, and I'll unroll it, and that exposes the adhesive here, like right here, and then we'll glue it up on the window. For now, let's just close it up good, and let's get back in the car and get it applied, okay? Okay, back in the car, got my film rolled up. I'm gonna wet my window. I'm gonna use a little bit of extra water down towards the bottom to rinse anything that I couldn't get with my squeegee. So here, I've unrolled it a ways, and I'm gonna take it in and get it started on unrolling it. Right? And it really, of course, likes to move. And that's really what we want it to do at this point. But I've got it kind of in position. And so now, through the magic of reverse rolling, I'm able to get that liner off of it, and we want to get everything covered where there's no light showing anywhere, which is right there, okay? Now I have this squeegee, and I've got to remove all of the water that was in there. So carefully, without crinkling or damaging the film, we will get it on here. And again, notice I can't reach that very bottom with this squeegee. So I have another tool, of course, called a bulldozer set. So this has got a little squeegee on the end, and I can come in and I can get below that third brake light, which is really handy. You know, years, 20 plus years ago, we either had to take all of this deck out, or before this tool was made, we had what we call a clipboard from the office, and we would wrap a paper towel on it and get it down behind. So now my water's out of there. I am gonna take a hard card and seal my edges here. Here is where we, you know, when I was heat forming earlier, the corner of that film kind of pulled up, and it's laying down really, really nice. And so here we go. We're just getting the water out of the edges, and there we go. Have that window pretty much tinted, and so now I can come in here and wipe off the deck of the customer's car, get it looking good, and I can remove the tape that I had up there just to protect the film from getting anything on it. And I'll get a picture of it from the outside here in just a minute. Okay, have the window tinted. I'm just gonna, it's all cleaned up on the inside and brand new window, so clean it up out here, and then what we're gonna do is let it dry a little bit and have the customer come pick it up, and they'll be happy, happy, happy. Come visit us on Facebook, autowindowtinting.com, YouTube, B. Stan Foster, or the internet, www.autowindowtinting.com. Thank you.